welcome back to one of my art demos. Today I've got a cereal box which I've opened out flat and I've coated it with gesso. I've given it a ground of gesso and now I'm going to put some sand texture paste on top which takes a while to dry, but I've got in mind to do a London scene today. This is a very grey picture, but it is in black and white. It's not always like this in London, I assure you. Unfortunately, I seem to have chopped Nelson's head off, which is a bit of a shame. So I'm going to put quite a thick ground of texture paste down and then start applying some paint. So I don't know if you noticed while I was applying that sand texture paste in the time-lapse bit just now, but I scored in to the sand texture paste, picking out some of the elements in this picture so that when it comes to painting I've already kind of slightly mapped out the skyline, and when I apply the paint I'll have lots of little ridges and texture just to make things a bit more interesting. This is going to take ages to dry, it's very thick, I don't know if you can see that, I'll take some photos close up of it, and when that's dry I'll carry on with the next stage. Right, I've printed a couple of sheets off the internet. I've collected some of my Pinterest images. I've got a board on there of art that I like. And these particular paintings, what I like about them, and I'm going to try and achieve this look in my painting now, is this sort of atmospheric quality to them, where you can't really see very many hard lines or define objects within the pictures, particularly these four. Your imagination does a lot of the work. Also this one where you've got buildings. What I like is this minimal amount of detail going on within the building structure. So you've got very soft outlines for the buildings and just tiny little marks to denote windows and doors and things like that. So with what I like about these is texture as well. Here there's an awful lot of texture without very much form at all, just very simple colours, but I quite like the effect of that. And this one here, everything's, all the brushwork, all the palette knife work's very rugged and very abstract, so I think that's the kind of look I'm going to try and go for, and I'll probably stick to quite grey colours, just like the photograph I took. And the photograph I think was taken from the National Portrait Gallery's restaurant, so that's quite a good view of Trafalgar Square and Westminster beyond. So this is dry now, so I might have a go at laying down the first colour. I thought I'd just show you this book, which is extremely helpful when it comes to all the different mediums out there that go with acrylics. This guy, Jean-Paul van Boxtel, shows how to use different mediums and mix them. He takes photographs of what they're like wet and then what they're like dry, because a lot of these mediums look opaque and they look like they're making your paints a lot lighter. But when they dry, they tend to dry the exact same hue that your actual paint is. So this is really useful if you want to have if you want to start somewhere but you're not quite sure what all these different things are for. So for example, you've got stucco, so you've got your paint, stucco on its own, mix them together and it's wet, and then that's what it's like dry. White opaque flakes, blended fibres which look like pulp, glass texture beads, resin sand, texture placed, black lava, other mediums as well to help flow improvement, things like that. But his work, I just love it because it's so textured. For example, this piece here, it's just layered on loads of colour in daubs, and it's just very atmospheric. For example, this landscape here, there's no hard lines anywhere or any sort of particular definition about it. It's just got this beautiful soft quality to it where your imagination has to do some of the work. And here he's just started off with very mute colours and then built up to create this very vague impression of an edifice or a mountain with buildings on top. And it's just got such a lovely atmospheric quality to it. And it's very tactile, it's very textured. So this is a really good book to get if you want to know where to start, if you want to know what all these mediums are about. This is the one. Okay, so back to the painting now. I managed to not record this bit where I just added a bit of blue, not being very much of a purist. In this case, I didn't use artists, like proper artist acrylic paints, but crafters one. It's going to be an undercoat anyway, so right, I'm going to crack on with it then. Okay, it's the next day. I've come back to this and quite happy with how it's been going so far. I started off with negative painting. That's where you paint around the objects rather than paint the objects first. So you paint the space in between them. So that's how I did the skyline. And I particularly like the way Westminster Abbey's come out. Sort of soft outlines and that sort of sense of an impression of something rather than it looking very obviously like it. So now I'm kind of at that slightly painful point in painting where you kind of want to be finished but you're not quite there yet. So this area in the middle lacks definition, so that's what I need to work on. And I think what I can just about make out in the photograph is what looks like a street weaving its way through here and some buses. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. It looks like it might be trees, but I'm not quite sure. So I think I just need to do a little bit more to it and then it's done. I don't know how much of the texture you can see in video, but I'll take photographs close up of it at the end. So I'll carry on now. Okay, I think that concludes this this project. It's a good exercise to use the palette knife. I've only used the paintbrush just for the clock on Big Ben and just add in a little bit of a feature for Nelson's column at the top. General rule of thumb is not to chop your painting in half vertically, but it's in the photo, so I used it. So yeah, I enjoyed doing this. It was good exercise, good practice. I hope some of the tips in the book that I've shown you and Pinterest board that I collect images on are of some help or inspiration. So if you've got a photograph that you might otherwise think is a bit dull on a dull day, then perhaps use texture to liven it up. That's it for now. See you again next time. Take care. Bye.